May as well call the meeting to order. We've got quite a few people here, but we'll take roll call as more come in later on. Approval of agenda. Do we need to, can't vote on
Yeah,
it?
we can't vote on anything, so we can just have a discussion.
Okay, tonight is just a discussion on the Clay County draft for the comprehensive plan. So with that, I'll just let Matt start talking and lead us through it.
Well, thank you, Mr. Chair. We got. Can you just turn it off? You think? It's weird. Okay, now hit it again. Now you hit.
Is it echoing? Yeah, still is.
That was better.
Is it better now? Yeah. Okay.
Since we have a number of folks online, just remember to keep your mic on so that's the only way they can really hear you. So it's pretty important to do that. So we have a draft of the 2045 comprehensive plan. The purpose of the meeting tonight was to kind of run through that. It's lengthy. Right now it sits at about 223 pages. We're not going to do like a page by page deep dive into it. I'm assuming and hoping that all of you have had the chance to skim through it, at least take a look at it. What I think our focus will be on is on some of the more important components of the plan, that being the vision section and then the goals and objectives. And so with that, I guess I could just turn it over to Adam. I think you're muted.
Oh, sorry about that. I'll share my screen here. Let's see here. Let's see. Sorry, I accidentally closed my presentation quick. I apologize. Let's see. All right, can you see that all right?
Yes.
Okay. Well, thank you, Chair, Commissioners, others for your time here tonight. As Matt said, we're excited to have shared an administrative draft of the comprehensive plan and hope you've had a little time to at least take a quick look at that. The items that we have on our agenda tonight just include a quick review of the administrative draft, as well as Matt and I will both talk about some of the items we're still looking to address. After that, we'd like to, as Matt mentioned, talk about the vision statement we've developed, and following that, go through the current goals and talk about some of the objectives we've developed. There's a lot of verbiage within that section, so I think to move things along tonight, we don't have all the the text for each and every objective in the presentation. So if possible, if you haven't already, take a look at those and just get back to us if you have any specific feedback on those. We've also developed a draft implementation guide, and we'll run through that briefly. And then at the very end, we'll just talk about next steps for this plan and final adoption. So as Matt noted, we have the current administrative draft out for review. It's 223 pages. Matt, did you want me to pass it over to you quick to talk about some things, or do you want me to kind of run through these next two slides here first?
Adam, you can certainly do that. If your voice needs a break, though, at any time, let me know and I can take over.
Thanks. Well, you had developed kind of a 1 or 2 pager. Did you share that with?
No, I can run through these quick, Adam.
Okay.
So essentially, what the plan currently consists of are 7 sections or 7 chapters. So you've got the introduction, and that really outlines kind of the purpose and the scope of the plan, gives an overview, the county's role, kind of governmental role, a brief overview of that, and then a set of planning principles, and I'll touch on those here quick. So there's a set of planning principles, and part of that is these different, I guess, growth alternatives or growth and land development alternatives. There's really there are 3 alternatives. You have one being pursuing a restrictive growth land use pattern, kind of offering some of the pros and cons of that principle or that approach. Doing a balanced growth land use pattern, so something a little more modest and flexible as an alternative, and then a third alternative being pursuing an unrestricted growth land use pattern, and just highlighting kind of the pros and cons of each of those. Based on all the discussions that we've had, input we've received from the public, kind of highlighting this more balanced growth and land use pattern, that alternative too. So that's touched on right away in the introduction. The next section is the community profile. This is probably one that you've seen the most. That's providing essentially that baseline demographic, economic, geographic, cultural, environmental resources information for Clay County. And that also includes some forecasts and projections for growth, kind of looking at projected population growth, projected demographics in terms of age and race and ethnicity, things like that. Then the third chapter, I'll just scoot to it, one that I kind of want to spend some time on today, is the vision chapter. And so the vision is basically kind of outlining that vision for the county, what the county would like to see happen in the next 25 years in terms of growth and development. And so that's based on, and in this section you have essentially all the input that we receive from the public at different engagement opportunities that were held. Our community input survey that we had and received a lot of feedback from. And then city and township feedback. So we reached out to all the cities and townships in Clay County. Got some good feedback there. Feedback from all the state agencies as well. So the county kind of being an arm of the state government in a lot of respects, it was important to get their feedback as well. And then we had personnel meetings with county staff, and then did some focus groups and targeted outreach for this plan as well, and got some feedback there from different focus groups. And that culminated in kind of this draft vision statement, which we can talk about tonight, and we can maybe look at more in detail at our Planning Commission meeting too on Tuesday. Then chapter 4 we have is the land use section. So in this section we have some kind of 5 guiding principles for land use to kind of guide land use for Clay County in the next 20-25 years. And then this also includes the physical settings of Clay County, the geography of Clay County, some information on existing land use, then describing our land use controls. That would be our zoning ordinance, SSTS ordinance, floodplain ordinance, shoreland, things like that. We also did some analysis on assessment data, so how land has been taxed in Clay County, and looking in 20 years ago, what assessment land use looked like for assessment in like the 2000s and compared to today. You can kind of see how things have changed over the past 20 years, and then some strategies for future land use decisions as well. Then the 5th chapter is the transportation plan, and the transportation plan is almost like a plan within a plan. So this chapter is basically providing some guiding principles for transportation, the existing conditions of the transportation network and infrastructure in Clay County, as well as trends, strategies, management tools, corridor management strategies, issues and opportunities with corridor management, public transit, bike and ped, off-highway vehicles, future trends, emerging technologies, and then future transportation needs are all in this section. And then chapter 6 is the goals and objectives. And this is a chapter that you are, as a planning commission, probably rely on the most, just being that the goals and objectives are kind of based on all the information that has been received, input from you as a commission, the county board, the public, state agencies, cities and towns, to kind of culminate into these goals and objectives. And you as a planning commission tend to use these a lot because they inform some of the decisions that you make as a body. And then the last section, which was forthcoming when this went out, and we can talk about this a little bit too, is implementation. So this implementation guide this will be a chapter that provides just a set of general actions, programs, and tools that's been identified to assist with the implementation of the plan goals and objectives. So that's essentially it. So that is kind of a brief overview or a broad overview of the comprehensive plan draft. Is there any questions right off the bat? No? Okay. All right, I'll turn it back over to you, Adam.
All right. Thank you, Matt. So there's still some items that we are looking to incorporate here, and we've highlighted a couple of them. I think Matt and Erica, you might have some additional ones, but just a few things that we're still looking to add. One is a dashboard snapshot for the community profile. It just kind of summarizes that chapter with certain stats and numbers for populations and households and those sorts of things. We also received some information from the Clay County HRA in the State of the State's Housing 2021. That has some really good information on housing statistics, so we'll look to add that here as well. We have information on utility corridors, community solar gardens. So we'll add that to the energy section here of the plan as part of the community profile. The next is, and I guess I'll kind of admit I kind of struggled how to talk about the Spring Prairie Hutterite colony. We have a lot of references to Terracon and how it's an important and vital industry in the county, but it's Spring Prairie is one of the fastest growing townships, looking from 2010 to 2020. So it's thought that we should maybe talk about that a little bit more in depth. So we'll add a summary of that. We've also received some new airport zoning information from the city of Moorhead as part of their comprehensive plan update. So we have some info on that. Also, Erica and Rita, thank you. You noted that there were some airstrips that we missed as part of one of the maps in the transportation section, so we'll get those incorporated. Part of the land use section, a couple of areas that we thought to maybe go a little bit more in depth are planned unit developments, joint powers areas, and extraterritorial areas in their basically how they are tools for certain growth in the county and the benefits of using these types of tools. The last 2 points I have in here is just some additional incorporating Clay County landfill and demolition landfill as freight generators on one of the maps that we have in the transportation section. And then just some additional photo labels, some polishing, etc., to kind of smooth some of the things out. Matt, did you have some other things that you wanted to address here too, though?
No, that looks good.
Okay. If possible, if there's comments that you would like us to get incorporated, we'll talk about this at the end, but we are looking to put a draft plan onto the website here on December 23rd to start the public review process. So if you have comments that you want to get incorporated for that draft plan, if you could get those by get them to Matt by December 22nd, that would be helpful. So
It's our Christmas gift to you all to get you a draft plan. All nicely wrapped up in a bow.
Yeah. But with that, are there any other thoughts or questions, either with the sections that Matt talked about or with some of the additional items we're looking to incorporate?
I have one thing, Adam. This is Ezra.
Yeah.
I think I saw a picture of a guy fly fishing in one of the streams. There's no
Yeah.
place in Clay County that we fly fish, I do not believe. So if we're having this as a Clay County plan, maybe we should find a different picture.
I kind of heard part of that. Could you repeat that?
I think in one of those slides, there's a guy fly fishing
Yes.
in a stream. I am not aware of any place in Clay County that we can fly fish where we're going to catch trout or.
I took that, I actually took that picture. It's from the Buffalo River. It's at
Is
Buffalo
it?
State Park.
Oh, geez. Okay.
Yep.
And I will say, Ezra, that I've fly fished for walleye before.
In Clay County, though?
No, but on a lake.
Yeah, but I'm surprised.
It's not. I wouldn't say that if I'm thinking of a place to fly fish, I would say that Clay County is not probably one of the first places that comes to mind. That's for sure. Yeah, it's the best kept secret, right?
I took that, it was right, if you know where the reservoir is at Buffalo State Park, it's right, he was right in the river, right south of there. So I snuck a photo of him.
My apologies, Adam.
No. Is there anything else? Any other thoughts?
No, I think we can
Okay.
move on.
All right. So going back to, all the way back to the first study review committee meeting, vision statement is simply what we want to see for the future of Clay County, where we're headed, and what we see important for the community as a whole. In building up to this statement, as Matt talked about and as we talked about in other meetings, we summarized all the different issues and opportunities that we found out through all the different community engagement events, and we discussed I think all of these in depth back in July and August. But again, these involved our virtual and in-person engagement meetings, pop-up events, input survey that we developed. Again, the city and township feedback, state agency responses, the personnel meetings with county staff, and the focus groups and other outreach that we did. So this is the statement that we have developed, and I'll read this to you here. Clay County values its existing rural and agricultural character while ensuring a thoughtful, balanced approach to growth and development in the years to come. Clay County is committed to the principles of equity, inclusion, and service by providing quality services and facilities for all citizens and future residents. Clay County recognizes the importance of its agricultural and natural resources while looking for new opportunities to support the economic resiliency. I think that's an additional I should take that, to support economic resiliency. Sorry. Clay County will promote sound planning principles that foster economic, environmental, and community resiliency to ensure that Clay County thrives into 2045 and beyond. So, this is the statement that we've developed, and if you have initial thoughts or feedback on that, I'd be happy to hear that at this time.
You know, this is Bill.
Yeah.
It recognizes the importance of agriculture and natural, and then while looking for new opportunities to support the economic resiliency. How about economic growth?
The last part that you said, so would that accommodate growth?
Looking for new opportunities to support economic growth. Maybe that's not the right word, but it seems better to me.
Okay.
Yeah,
I see what you,
Mr. Chair, I think it would be good to at least replace one of the two resiliencies in there.
yeah.
Economic vitality. Support. Yep. Yeah, to support economic vitality.
Okay. I like that.
So this would likely become kind of the vision statement for not only for like land development for planning, but it'd be for the kind of the county as a whole, essentially. Any other thoughts? Comments? Clay County will quietly become the fly fishing capital of the world. Minnesota, okay. Yeah, me either. Well, Adam, I think we just make those two changes
Yeah.
and we can just keep going.
Okay, that's sounds good. Sounds good. Again, if you have any other comments here, or you have any other thoughts about this or anything else, yeah, just let us know.
While taking up with the minors.
So, moving on, I know many of you, we've kind of already discussed this in our fifth study review committee meeting, but we'll do a rundown of the goals and objectives that we've developed for the plan so far. As Matt talked about, these are really the heart of the plan. They try to link all the different plan components, as well as the feedback we received through community engagement, so that you as planning commissioners and county commissioners can really achieve this vision that we've developed and that the county has set for itself. So for the goals and objectives, we've divided these into 9 categories: community and resilience, housing, land use, transportation, agriculture, natural resources. Oh shoot, these are the parks and open spaces isn't wrong. I apologize. This is from an older slide that I'd had. We'll go through these a little later. That's so. But then following that is economic development and intergovernmental coordination. So I apologize. So first category, community and resilience. We've developed 3 goals here. Promote personal and community health for all residents. Collaborate with child care providers to provide access to quality and affordable care, and maintain and improve community preparedness and emergency response capacity to ensure public health and safety. If you look at page 211 of the draft plan that was sent out, some of the objectives we've developed include pursuing opportunities to address mental health needs, reducing risks to chronic disease, practices to achieve healthy food access, opportunities to support existing and new child care providers, and continued emergency preparedness assistance. But with the goals themselves here, did you have any additional feedback with these or thoughts, or are there other goals related to community and resilience that you think should be added?
Looks good.
Keep going, Adam.
Yeah, let's keep rolling.
All right,
Everybody keep moving.
keep going. For housing, we've developed 3 goals. Support additional options that give people in all life stages and of all economic means viable choices for safe, stable, and affordable homes. Promote a diverse housing supply to provide residents with a range of housing options for those in need. And safeguard the physical quality of housing to promote healthy living environments. As part of this category, objectives that we put together include promoting diversity of new housing types, promoting jurisdictions that have established standards that promote housing diversity, providing assistance to vulnerable and low-income populations through the county Housing and Redevelopment Authority, assisting lower-income homeowners with home repairs, and promoting proper maintenance or replacement of residential subsurface sewage treatment systems.
Yeah,
With
so-
these 3 goals here, anything stand out, or again, anything that you think we should add or missing, or any of the goals here that you think you'd like to see worded differently?
I guess just for the planning commission, what I'll say, a lot of these goals are more for like our, social services, public health, and our environmental health departments would probably carry out a lot of these goals. Just making sure that there aren't any, houses that become nuisance properties, things like that. Might be something that the planning commission might address at one point. If we ever adopt a building code, for example, that might fall under goal number 3 there. I know that's something that's gaining a little more traction, just to make sure that people who build houses in rural Clay County, making sure that they're not getting, ripped off or any corners are cut or anything like that. So just to make sure that houses are quality and have resale value, don't have problems, so.
Adam, where would, in terms of safe housing, things that like radon and other issues, environmental hazards, come into? Like,
I apologize, I couldn't catch all of that.
Steve Lindus, oh, sorry,
yeah,
go
I was
ahead.
just going to say, where does the environmental health aspects of housing, so radon exposures and other things like that?
The environmental health aspects of housing.
Yeah, like radon exposure, things of that nature.
Is that up to the county to regulate? Honestly, I don't know.
It's a public health issue sometimes.
Yeah,
That's when you said,
But they're not gonna go around and check every house, that's what I'm saying. That's kind of hard to put in there unless you can have an inspector to go on and check every house, mandatory,
yeah.
which I don't ever see happening, but it might. It could be new.
yeah, so the overlay I was thinking more
Yeah.
was directly when you start talking about lower income individuals and making sure that they have safe houses. That's one of those overlays that oftentimes they're not even thinking about their safety of lead or radon. And, it's one thing to find an affordable house. It's another thing to find an affordable house that doesn't impact negatively your health. And then that comes back because the county has to then take care of individuals that are disadvantaged in that way.
That's a good point. We do have a environmental health subsection as part of natural resources and the environment, but that doesn't address the aspects that you've talked about. So we can incorporate.
One thing I would say, just to address that maybe, is I think that is typically something that's kind of fallen under the purview of the Clay County HRA.
Yes.
And I know that they have their own plan that they put out. I think it's every 3 years. Don't quote me on that, but I think that they're the ones that, since they work with that population more, that kind of falls under their purview. I don't know if that addresses it at all, but
Yeah, I mean, the physical quality, I was also thinking the physical quality has an environmental overlay too,
sure.
so. option
Absolutely.
3.
Yep, absolutely. And I think that's where like a building code or something like that would come into play.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. Thank you for those comments. Yep. Anything else? All right, I can move on here. So the next category we have here is land use. And we've divided that into 3 headings: agricultural, residential, and commercial and industrial. Agricultural goal is to recognize and protect the agricultural character of Clay County, and objectives for that, which are found on page 212, include supporting against nuisance complaints, protecting prime agricultural soils, and preserving large tracts of farmland while allowing for the use of transfer and development rights. The residential goals.
Hey, Adam, can I just interrupt you quick for one
Yes.
sec? Just want to talk about that land use agricultural. Just the study review committee met and went in these goals in great detail, and I think one of the changes that they made, especially to that objective of protecting prime agricultural soils from development, was in the initial draft, we had an actual number because the NRCS does have soil. Basically, they've identified what prime agricultural soils are and how that can be measured, and that was in there at one point, and that was taken out. Just to be kind of more general, I think. And I think that's important to recognize too.
Oh, that's a good point. Thank you. Thanks.
For what it's worth, I'm not sure the county should be regulating prime. I'm more of a land rights person. And if somebody, just because somebody considers it prime, why should that stop them from being considered for?
So
It doesn't cost the county anything. It's the landowner that's given up the prime land, so-called prime land.
So one thing I'll say is just this is a very general zoning statement for not only the state of Minnesota, but for probably everywhere, is that for communities that choose to do zoning, essentially local governments have the ability to zone, and that right is given to them by the state, and it's a police power. And that doesn't mean like a police power like we're going to come and arrest you. It means like it's a right that's given to the state. And the whole purpose of it is to promote the health, welfare, and safety of the public. And so when we think about, sure, individual land rights I think are important, but then when you're making planning decisions, that's kind of the lens that you're supposed to make those decisions through. Is this something that's promoting the health, safety, and general welfare of the public? And if it's, I guess ultimately what it means is individual land rights are important, but it doesn't mean that you have unlimited rights as a landowner.
No, but I mean, as far as the prime, so-called prime land, Moorhead's got some of the prime land, and they just annex it.
Yep.
Dilworth annexes it, and they
Yep.
just build on it. So really, it's kind of a shallow statement in a way. Because if it depends on where it's located, it can just be annexed into a city and developed on. And some of the best land in the country, Fargo, Moorhead, Dilworth, same thing.
Yep.
That's all, that's just my comment. It just seems kind of a hypocritical statement when the cities can just annex it and build wherever they want.
Yep, and that's a good point, I think. We could add something to that objective that says protecting prime agricultural soils outside of planned urban growth areas. That might be a way to do that. I guess it's one of those things too where a city's looking at what their way of promoting the health, safety, and general welfare of their populations is typically to grow, to provide adequate housing and space and things like that. And if you look at in the county, you know, the residents of the county, they're primarily they're in the agricultural community. And so protecting their soils, I guess, to be productive could be a kind of a goal of the county.
So I think having this in actually reminds urban growth planning committees that this is important. You know, I think this speaks to the cities now are starting to recognize that infill is a much more productive and better use of resource management. Doesn't mean that you can't and won't, but you know, you can start recognizing, hey, agricultural land is a really important commodity. Not just don't keep building houses on it.
At some point, it's going to be a very important commodity.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Well, I think we're coming to that point.
Yep. Yeah, but I definitely see that point that you make. You have great soil, great farmland right outside the city, and some even in city limits still. You have really good farmland that's still productive, that has a lifespan on it.
Enough on that one, Adam. Let's keep on rolling.
All right. So, residential goals, we've included here, promote and encourage quality and diversified residential development in the incorporated communities of Clay County, provide opportunities for quality rural residential development in Clay County, and recognize the diversity of living and working arrangements in the unincorporated areas of Clay County. Some of the objectives for that are found in the plan include encouraging growth in non-farm residential development near incorporated communities, implementing residential density standards that can help maintain the rural character of the county, allowing for home occupations that are in harmony with rural Clay County, and then permitting accessory dwelling units for either temporary ag workers or multi-generational living. So those are some of the objectives that we've developed for the residential land use goals. Any additional comments or questions with those?
I guess the only thing, Mr. Chair, I'll say is with the study review committee gave a lot of positive feedback on the, allowing for home occupations, greater flexibility, and because people are, working out of their houses more. And then also with that accessory dwelling units, they're just becoming a lot more popular. So right now, as you all know, we do allow that, but it has to be a mobile home, and mobile homes are not really in vogue and right now. Yep, exactly. So, yeah. I think, keep going.
All right, not hearing anything, any other comments? For commercial and industrial land use, there's two goals here. Encourage commercial and industrial development that is in harmony with the agricultural rural character of Clay County, and promote the incorporated communities of Clay County as prime locations for commercial and industrial development. And objectives for for these goals include value-added agricultural, commercial, and industrial development in the ag service zoning areas that have been identified in the county, and encouraging commercial and industrial development that is in harmony with city future land use plans, which are currently for Moorhead, Hawley, Barnesville, and Glendon. Thoughts with these? All right. Transportation section has 5 goals. These are for just the general system, bike and ped connectivity, freight, transit, and streetscaping and safety. The first 3 goals are listed here. For the transportation system, maintain and operate an accessible, safe, and efficient transportation system for the movement of people and goods throughout Clay County. For bicycle and pedestrian connectivity, increase biking and walking through rural portions of Clay County. And then for freight, support the movement of freight across Clay County.
I'll just say, can I just say, when
yeah.
we had our focus group meeting with ag producers, and we were asking about issues, and bicycles came up. We talked about bicycles for quite a while, didn't we, Ezra? I don't know if you also saw the map in there that is it Strava or Strava, that heat map? Strava?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they have you on there going up and down in Goose Prairie Township. I saw it was pretty orange up there. I figured that must be you. So yeah. Nice. Yeah. Yeah, but yeah, the I guess the comment that we got from that ag group was wider shoulders. Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And then with the Heartland Trail to get more landowners on the committee for that.
Yeah.
Oh yes, the new yeah. You've heard of that one? The US 20 one?
Through Fergus Falls and Pelican Rapids and ends up in South Moorhead.
We've heard a little bit about that one, but I think it's mainly using existing roadways, isn't it? Yeah. So I think it'd be mainly 52 through.
Yeah, 52 it seems like is
all the way
the
to Moorhead.
main corridor. So
And that does have wider shoulders, because they were thinking about, we got to either pick either 10 or 52, and 52 is a little bit wider and doesn't see as much gravel traffic.
but that might be, I don't think that's in our transportation plan right now.
No, we didn't include the federal or the US routes, but that's certainly something we could put in there. It'd
Okay.
be as simple as a map, a reference map.
Perfect. Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
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 yeah, it
Same
just
here.
came on our radar. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
On the moving freight throughout the county, I don't know if this is an appropriate comment or thought or whatever, is maybe making, we seem to have a growing number of township roads that are 5-ton roads, which are woefully inadequate, even though ag is exempt. They just get beat up every year. Is there gonna be maybe some improvement to some of these township roads through this plan, or?
Guess
No, because township is its own
Yeah.
entity compared to the county.
wouldn't really be as part of,
Yeah, but township's township, county's county.
other than maintaining the roads under the township contract, the highway department
Yeah.
doesn't really do anything with.
Graveling or anything like
They
that.
can join our graveling contract if
Yeah,
they want.
but the township decides how much gravel they put on their own roads. It's not
Correct.
the county coming to the township and saying,
Correct.
put down 150 or 100 or 200.
Yeah. I think townships can certainly have the options if that's an issue to partner with the county and
Yep.
like through a graveling contract or
So
something.
every year when we do our graveling contract, we do give them the opportunity to join. Only a couple do.
Yeah.
Mainly it's the cities that do it, like the city of Glendon and the city of Holly, so.
Yeah.
Townships don't have the money to improve those.
Townships have the money.
They do?
They do. Now they do. I mean, there's a lot of money in the townships now. It's not like 20 years ago when townships were always broke. There's been a lot of money given to townships to improve their roads. Now, if they're
Good.
spending it, they're
That
not.
might be, some might not want you to be saying that, but,
I sit on the town board. I know what type of money ours is, and I know other townships what they're sitting on. So, I mean,
that's good.
I think we've touched on a couple of objectives already that are associated with these. I'll note again though that one of the objectives is collaborating with partners on the preliminary design of the Heartland Trail. That is something that we've included. So. Any other comments or questions, thoughts?
No, go on to the next slide.
All right. The last two goals here for transit: increase opportunities for rural transit in Clay County. And then for streetscaping and safety, enhance the character and quality of transportation infrastructure within Clay County. Objectives for these include educating residents about existing transit opportunities, and then potentially incorporating elements such as street lights, street furniture, living snow fences, and other streetscaping or safety enhancements on county roadways.
Street furniture is such a funny term. Like a lazy boy on a corner. Yeah.
I know MnDOT does a lot of the living snow fences and/or permanent snow fences. The county has never done one. We've looked for different places to do it, just haven't come up with a good place to try it yet.
Well, yeah, you're seeing a lot more of the, like either the permanent snow fences along state and federal, and then,
From 336 all the way to 34th Street is completely covered with a snow fence.
yep.
And then outside of Glendon, I think there's a pretty good section there too that MnDOT has.
And then I drove down to like Austin, Minnesota a few months ago, and you could see there's a lot of farmers that are leaving a few rows of leave the corn stand, yep. Seen a lot more of that.
That's something we have thought about, but just haven't.
Oh,
MnDOT has mentioned that in the future it might be eligible for like HSIP funding, but it's not quite there yet. So in the future, if there is funding opportunities and there's a good location, it's something we'll definitely look at.
Okay. Then I think rural transit, that's just, I mean, we used to have our own rural transit in Clay County. We don't anymore, but I know like for veterans, our Veterans Services Office has volunteers that do transit, and then social services does for folks who need to get to the hospital or clinic for appointments. They have some of that too, but yeah. Yep. And so I don't know if they just need to be promoted more, or that could be, and I don't know if that's an objective or not, but. Yep, it is. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I think we're good. Keep going.
All right, move on. Okay. So next we have agriculture. we have just one overarching goal for this component: support the long-term protection of the county's strong and diverse agricultural economy. And objectives that we've included for that include maintaining agriculture at all scales throughout the county, promoting regenerative practices such as crop covers, reduced tillage, and then livestock incorporation on land with the highest erosion potential to increase soil health. So,
One thing that we've seen
yeah.
a lot of, and I don't know if any of you who live in rural Clay County have noticed this before, but there seems to be a pretty marked drop in pasture land over the last 20 years. And I mean, I don't know if that's an issue, concern, or if it's just, that seems to be one of those land uses that just kind of ebbs and flows as with land prices and livestock prices. Yep, so, okay. Gone down, yeah. Yep. So, there's also been kind of, I don't know if this is noticeable yet, but more hemp production in Clay County, especially in the kind of the southern part. I should say legal hemp production that we know of. I mean, there's probably a lot of other hemp production going on, but yeah, like actual industrial hemp is becoming more of a thing. And I know that some commissioners have talked about in the past with if Minnesota ever legalizes recreational marijuana, what kind of impacts on zoning or land use should be considered. So when, yeah, not if.
That would just be an agricultural product then, wouldn't it?
Yep, yep.
All right, any more discussion with this?
Oh, keep going.
So, I think the component with the most goals and objectives associated with them is the natural resources and the environment. We have 8 subsections that we have identified: aggregate resources, environmental health, floodplains, prairies and woodlands, resource recovery and solid waste, shoreland and stormwater, wetlands, and public open space.
Adam, one thing I
Yeah.
just want to note, in our current plan, the 2002 plan, was also the biggest
Yeah.
category. There's 3 goals, but there's just a number of there are policies in that plan, probably too many, to be honest, and too vague and too general. So we kind of tried to categorize them as best we could. A lot of them would relate to maybe some different categories you might not think about when it comes to the environment, such as aggregate resources or solid waste. We don't really handle solid waste issues that much in the Planning Commission. And then there's a couple like the floodplain and the shoreland are they're basically state rules, essentially federal and state rules that the county has been essentially tasked with implementing and enforcing. And so a lot of that's where the shoreland and floodplain stuff comes from.
On this resource protection, wetlands
And wetlands.
would trump
Yep.
gravel pit,
Yep.
gravel production.
Yep. Unless they did mitigation.
Adam, could we get Matt to go through all these to give you a voice arrest?
Yeah, we can give you a break.
Is Is that okay, Matt?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
drink some tea.
Okay.
Okay, so I'll start with aggregate resources, 2 goals for that. Recognize the importance of aggregate resources to the county and the region. Foster a balanced approach to aggregate resource extraction that is compatible with natural resources and the rural character of Clay County. Those look good? Okay. Environmental health. First goal with this is ensuring affordable, efficient, safe, environmentally sound individual and community wastewater management. And so I should say for environmental health, this has been vetted by, thanks Justin, been vetted by the Ken Severson, our environmental health director. He provided a lot of insight on these goals. I didn't know community wastewater was still something that was promoted, but it is apparently. So reduce nuisance conditions. Ezra, I had noted that your comments that we should probably just remove unsightly land uses and practices just because that's a little nebulous. What's unsightly to one person might be sightly to another person.
Wind tower?
Wind tower, yep. An old tractor, like, you know, when you're driving down 94 and you go by the Buffalo River and you've got the guy that's got all the old cars out and all the lights are on.
Yep.
You ever seen that? Yeah. Some people really dislike that and complain a lot to me about it. And I think it's kind of cool. Yeah. Yeah, I think it's great. So that's why we got to get rid of the unsightly. Yep.
And they're all for sale.
Yes.
I mean, if they don't,
Yeah.
somebody can go buy them all and move them out of there.
Yep.
You said that, they're all for sale.
Yep. They're all for sale. Yeah. Yep, they can buy them. If it really bothers you a lot, go take one off his hands. Protecting the groundwater resources in terms of quality and quantity. So thinking of, you know, quality groundwater for drinking water and then also, you know, making sure that we have enough groundwater for people and for agriculture during times of drought. Adam, can you go to the next slide?
Yes.
So that's the environmental health. So the next one is floodplains, fostering a community resilient to the impacts of flooding through targeted mitigation planning and implementation for the benefit of Clay County residents, ag, and industry. One thing I'll just say about that is, like, that's our floodplain ordinance, essentially, is that's the goal that it tries to accomplish. And one of the reasons why we have a floodplain ordinance is not only to protect lives and property, but to prevent costly things like flood buyouts and things like that. Any good with that? Prairies and woodlands, protect and enhance remnant tracts of native prairie and forests for the benefit and enjoyment of Clay County residents and visitors. Grow and restore prairie and woodland areas in Clay County for the benefit and enjoyment of Clay County businesses, residents, and visitors. And so a lot of that number one, there's a lot there. If you look at, like, say, the Minnesota DNR Prairie Conservation Plan, and you look in Clay County, in terms of the acreages of prairie that we have, we're pretty much right at what their target goals are in terms of prairie. Wetlands, not quite there. And, you know, that's just a plan too. It's not a mandate or anything like that. But, and then that second one is basically the objectives that would fall under that goal would be giving people some incentives to, and businesses some incentives to maintain, like, some pollinator habitat or do a prairie restoration on their property. You think of businesses and they have, you know, their building or whatever, their parking lot, and just providing some incentives for, and I don't know what those incentives would be. There's, you know, countless incentives that you could dream up, but, yeah. just promoting that as an option. I don't know if it's like a permitting incentive where you kind of have more expedited permitting or, you know, whatever, but.
Yep.
Yep, yeah, exactly. Yep, yep, essentially, that's what it is. Yeah, yep, yep, yeah. And going back to that number one, I think one thing that we as a county could do a better job of is just letting people know that if you have a 5-acre tract of native prairie on your property, you can get it exempt from property taxes. So you're not paying property taxes on those acres. And a lot of people just don't know about that.
No tax at all?
0. They value it at,
Well, I got a
0.
call. I got a call.
You got a call, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
I got to negotiate it down to water movement, down to $500 an acre, but if I can get it to 0, I'll take 0.
Yeah.
And you had mentioned that we're, according to the state, we're at about our target
Yep.
for prairie. Now, is that including, you know, the latest land that Nature Conservancy has bought that they are converting back into prairie, or?
So the state has identified different like core and corridor areas, basically for like wildlife movement and things like that. And it's just in those areas. So it's not in the entire county per se, but yeah, I would think that would be part of it. Absolutely.
They've got land in many townships.
Yep. Yep. All right.
Ready.
I think we can keep rolling, Adam.
Yeah, you're the last 4.
Yeah, so the resource recovery and solid waste is fostering an integrated waste management system that protects the public health and environment of Clay County in a manner appropriate to the characteristics of the waste stream. And so for this one, there's a number of objectives as well. I went to the county's Soil and Water Advisory Committee, and we talked about this a little bit. And then a lot of this comes from, they have their own solid waste management plan that they have to provide to the Pollution Control Agency, so a lot of that relates to that. So I just wanted to make sure that this plan was compatible with theirs as well. Shoreland and stormwater, protect and enhance the health and vitality of Clay County surface waters, including lakes, rivers, and streams. A lot of this, let's see here. Some objectives for this would be reducing development pressure on lakes, natural environment lakes, maintaining, enhancing riparian areas, and that's like in the shore impact zone, which is something that our shoreland ordinance already does, and just continuing to strengthen that and enforce that. We do have a stormwater ordinance in Clay County. A lot of it, it's really only applicable to urbanizing areas, so basically around City of Moorhead and Dilworth. And then, so I'll just say that like the SWCD and the two watershed districts and the county are all partners in the comprehensive watershed management plans for the wild rice and then for the buffalo red. And so just kind of recognizing that we are, as a county, a part of that plan too, and just staying involved with that. Because really a lot of these issues that deal with shoreland, wetlands, even some ag stuff, a lot of that's addressed in that comprehensive watershed management plan that the county's a part of. And so instead of duplicating that, just recognizing that we're partners in that.
And of course, underneath public open spaces, 1A, we should probably add fly fishing for Ezra.
Yes, exactly. More trout streams. I don't know what's happening with our.
I wonder if you lost your meeting entirely, your internet, because the other meeting attendees are
Did I not click on this? Did it go to sleep? It may have just gone to sleep. It's my fault. Yes, it was glitching.
Yeah, I emailed Adam, I was wondering if it was on MetroCog and in our office, if we're having, because I was trying to connect to the network so I could download the plan, and I couldn't connect.
So they have a broadband little thing in here, the Clark County. They say we have good connectivity here.
And I can't even get the computer to turn on.
Well,
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we could just move it to my laptop. Should we just move it to mine?
Probably is it.
oh, the computer just died. That's what happened.
One thing these laptops, notice about these laptops is they just die. If they're not connected, the battery just goes.
My if I don't pay attention to mine when it goes red,
Oh, we got it.
bam.
Yeah, I should probably plug mine in.
One of those things where you get used to things, give you warning, like, hey,
I think so.
hey, plug me in. So,
All right, we're back. Can you hear us, Adam?
there's multiple, sometimes.
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you
Sorry.
hear me?
Yeah, sorry about that. Our the power just went out on our laptop. Wasn't plugged in all the way.
And sometimes it's like, makes a lot of sense. Well, I don't know, because it almost was like incorporate wetland, and then someone added continue to, and they didn't decapitalize the incorporate.
All right.
Yeah, so it's just that it seemed to be always with continue to, it's like it was always added.
Oh, okay.
But then, and then there's other times where it's avoid, so I don't know if it was just something where people
That's an error, yeah.
So if we're ready to
educated and encouraged.
keep going,
Okay.
Yeah, but then you also.
Is my screen still showing?
It's probably said,
yes.
hey, let's
Okay.
put enhance.
Yep. So
So do you see the economic development goal here?
We do.
yes, we do.
Okay. So you just have one goal for economic development, ensure a quality workforce, and explore efforts to attract new and support existing businesses and industries that provide a living wage. Some of the objectives that we put together for that include collaborating with public and private partners, providing resources to help entrepreneurs through all life cycles of a business, you could say. And then just having the county provide leadership when it can make the most difference for different enterprises or different industries looking to come into the county. Thoughts with this goal or the objectives with this one?
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say 1B, The end of that is where the county can make the most difference when called. I don't know, I might say, leverage the county's efforts because you're partnering. And I didn't quite understand what was meant by when called.
Yeah, that makes sense to me.
Okay.
I personally kind of, I don't know if I feel ambivalent or just struggle a little bit with the first part of that goal, number one, ensure a quality workforce. I don't know what the solution would be though. It just something seems a little off about it.
Maybe support.
Support, yeah. Support would be probably a better, yeah,
Pretty hard to ensure that.
Yeah.
yeah,
Provides a living wage.
yeah. Especially when everyone's gonna be out fly fishing
Yeah.
in the next 5 to 10 years.
But even the living wage piece of it,
Yeah,
the living wage part of it too, if the living wage is, the government says it's going to be $20 an hour, does that mean they don't want any jobs that are less than that?
yep. And I think support. Yeah. We did talk about that.
That's a pretty tough statement there. You might be excluding somebody that doesn't pay what somebody else might consider a living wage.
Yeah, and I think what we've heard from like our economic development focus group and from county commissioners is that they really want to attract those businesses that do provide a living wage. It does, yep, that won't provide that. Yep. Yep. Yep.
So I like a living wage. However, I do know that there's some vital industries out there like childcare that really have, they don't really pay well. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, but it's still a vital
It's
industry.
a vital industry.
Yeah.
Because if you don't have those industries, you can't do other things.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But, and I would like it if we could pay more for our childcare because it's so important, but that's not a discussion we're having here.
Yeah.
So I don't know, living wage means something that you could also just say high quality of life or,
Yeah. Quality of life might be a better way to, yep. Because that includes those, yeah.
yeah.
Yep. Yeah, that makes sense. That sounds better. Yeah, I think, yeah. How, do you think that, yeah. Okay.
Living wage seems to be just a pretty broad statement and hard to define by different people. Different people are going to define that differently.
Yep. Yeah.
Some people may think they need $100,000 a year to survive. And some people might not think that.
Rice and beans, beans and rice. Dave Ramsey. Yep.
Champagne and beer.
Did you catch all that, Adam?
Yeah, so is there, just kind of thinking, is there a way that we could incorporate both maybe, to incorporate both supporting a living wage and quality of life, or would you rather just cut the living wage and just put in quality of life? Because they both seem important. Like you talked about too at our economic development focus group, I think the idea of a living wage is something that all these other organizations are looking to promote in the FM area.
You don't use that phrase.
But just thinking off the top
Quality
of
of
my
life is a
head.
better phrase to use.
To provide a wage to enhance quality of life?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Although from what Adam said, if everybody else is using the words living wage, Clay County maybe should too.
Yeah.
Just on that flip
Because what
side.
everybody's doing it doesn't mean you have to do it.
No, that's not.
Well, you can be at a disadvantage then
Yeah.
if some business says, well, you know,
Yeah.
you don't want to, yeah.
Or we could be at an advantage.
Yeah, you want to
can
kind of
be
be
an
on par.
Not going to play that game.
Right. Well, if you
That
think of anything else
provides a
here-
wage that supports
Quality life,
quality of life.
high quality of life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That sounds a lot better than saying provide a living wage.
Yeah. I'd agree.
Okay.
If you just add a provide a living wage that supports a high quality of life, I think that actually
Sounds but yeah.
better quantifies what you mean.
Yep.
'Cause then it could mean a lot of different things.
Okay.
Yep, that sounds good.
Well, let us know if you have additional thoughts with that. I'll move on.
Yep.
Yeah,
Okay.
keep moving.
Last goal, last category, excuse me, is intergovernmental coordination with two goals. Encourage ongoing communication, coordination, and cooperation among local and state partners, and establish comprehensive growth management strategies in coordination with local jurisdictions to preserve the rural character of Clay County and encourage healthy and vital communities. Some of the objectives associated with these goals include just maintaining current relationships with state agencies, working to achieve goals in other regional planning documents such as MetroCog's Metropolitan Transportation Plan or watershed management plans. And then also promoting the use of joint powers areas to facilitate commercial and industrial growth in cities and townships in Clay County. So those are the goals and objectives associated with intergovernmental coordination. Initial thoughts?
Sounds good, unless anybody else got any other comments?
No, I think it sounds good. I know that one of the big things that cities talked about, and townships too, were just, well, mainly cities, especially smaller cities in Clay County, was just making sure that we have orderly annexation agreements as those cities grow, so that when they expand, that they're able to annex property in an orderly fashion, in efficient fashion. I think even highlighting, like the Barnesville Joint Powers area, that basically the county is ceded all land use and zoning to the townships, Barnesville and Humboldt Township, and then the city of Barnesville in that area north of where the city limits are to 94. And they actually did their own plan for mainly commercial growth and development. And actually that now I think is starting to kind of take off a little bit. You're starting to see some actual projects going in there. And maybe even looking at like doing that with like in like Hawley or Dilworth or even Moorhead. So, yeah. I think it's good. That's all the goals.
All right.
We
Yeah,
did it.
Those are the goals and some of the objectives. Again, please take a look at the plan. If anything, if you see anything in the next week or so, let us know and we can incorporate some additional changes or modifications. Should we go ahead with the implementation?
Yeah, I think we can just kind of do a brief overview. I have a feeling that we're probably going to have an opportunity to talk about this on Tuesday too at our meeting.
Why don't we save this part for Tuesday?
We could save it for Tuesday
There
if,
should be more
Okay.
here on Tuesday.
yeah, I would hope so.
Adam,
That's what
Or else we're gonna be in trouble.
Adam, are there only 8 goals then if you eliminated
Yes,
parks and
yes,
open
8.
spaces?
We put the open space in with the natural resources.
So there's only 8 goals.
Yes, yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, essentially that goal kind of relates more to county-owned flood buyout properties, which we have
Yeah.
a lot of. Yeah, I think maybe we just want to touch on next steps.
Sure.
Briefly.
Okay, so we can touch on these next Tuesday here, but
Yep.
it's just planning tools for kind of associated with the goal or the the categories that we talked about with the goals and objectives: community resilience, housing, land use, transportation, and natural resources here. But the next steps that we've put together here is kind of a timeline for final approval of this plan here. So after this meeting tonight, we'll look to address if you have any comments here or additional thoughts here. We'll try to incorporate those here in the next week or so to get a revised draft plan. Again, we talked about, we'd like to get this posted on our website on next Thursday, December 23rd. And we can also send out a notice. We can share a Facebook notification with the county at that point and get the word out that we have a draft that is out for review. And then in January, we'll look to have both a community engagement, a kind of a final community engagement meeting to talk about the plan, and then also prepare for a public hearing. It's my understanding that the Planning Commission is meeting on January 25th. Is that correct?
Yes.
Because of Martin Luther King holiday. Okay.
Yep.
So what we've put here for the timeline is having a community engagement event the week of January 18th, 21st, so that Tuesday through Friday. Following that, it was when we'd have a public hearing as part of the Planning Commission in January. And then after that would be final adoption by the County Commission after that public hearing, probably in early February. Thoughts with this timeline? Does this work out? And I don't know if this is something that we can talk offline here too, but just thoughts with the public engagement. Is this something that you want in person or virtual, both?
Definitely in person.
Okay. I think that's what we had originally talked about, but
Yep.
okay. So we'll plan for that to be in person.
And I mean, I'll talk with our public health director about that first.
Sure.
And go with that, whatever guidance she recommends. But,
You can always have a virtual option
yep,
Yeah.
if you've planned for it if things go south.
yep, exactly.
Things are already going south.
Yep,
Okay.
Not going south.
okay.
Yeah, we can continue to monitor that here too in the next couple of weeks too, if anything changes.
Okay. Sounds good.
Well, this meeting was shorter than I was expecting it to be.
We were efficient,
Yeah,
so, yep.
but
Adam really needs to go drink.
anything else, Matt, or I want to thank Luke and RA. They've provided a lot of assistance on this plan here as well. If they had any additional, anything else that they wanted to talk about here quick, or
I don't have anything to add, other than I'd like to go fly fishing with Matt sometime. since he has experience in that. So.
We can do that. Well, thanks, Adam. I give your voice a rest and thank you all
Thanks.
for coming, taking the time out of your evening to come and provide input. Appreciate it. All right. Take care.
Go to bed. Well, we don't have to make a motion to adjourn.
Didn't have a meeting, just a information session.
Well, thanks.
If you-
We worked through most of that stuff. I mean, we've had some long meetings.
If you, you know, you kept pushing them along, so that helped. You know, we kept, get to the next slide.